And let's get into the big dogs, into the AFL, and we're in the AFL in the locker room.
Yep.
Brought to you by the Foot Doctor, a fantastic new sponsor.
Isn't that
down on
great?
Hunley Road.
Fantastic, yeah.
And a nice little mention as well. Healthy feet, happy athlete.
Yeah.
Nice little slogan from the
good
Foot
little
Doctor
slogan,
as well. You don't mind that at all. But fantastic week in footy.
Wasn't it great?
Both local teams getting the wins.
Well, that's 2 weeks in a row now, so it's so important. But what I like about it, it's the young ones who have been the exciting part of their machine. Okay, the stability and when you come to your Sloans and your Crouches and your Bokies and those types of players, but the exciting aspect is the young ones, your Bonners and your Burtons and the kids, of course, Rosie Dersma and Butters, and look on the other side of the ledger, you got Elliot Himmelberg and Murphy and Keith and those sort of players.
Yeah.
They just give that. They're exciting.
It's
exciting, and I know Kevin Sheedy always says, the experienced players gives you the stability of the team. You need young players to be, to give you the excitement. For the older players to say that was great. That was great. So and I think it's a really nice balance because all of a sudden Bokie's playing great footy.
Yeah.
Tex is back.
Salone's
back. The Crouches are back.
Just lightening the load, isn't it? But there's a bit of play on Friday night.
And that's what happens. Yeah.
A bit of play on Friday night where the whole stands was in the Audi Club and everyone's just gone, how good was that? And it was Zach Butters turning around and Rosie coming over the back to take a grab and have a shot on goal.
Well, they say
plays like that everyone in the stands, even myself, go, God,
you don't see a lot of that anymore. You don't see basically little areas of standing ovations. And I saw that Rosie do a little flick and a flick and a flick, and there's a evasive skill of, it reminded me of young Craig Bradley. Yeah. I know that a lot of people say that Dersma is a young Craig Bradley, but for me personally, I think Rosie's fleet-footedness really does look like Braddle's from when I played back in the 80s, and it was a standing ovation stuff. It really was. It was fantastic to see.
I want to talk Dersma for a second. What did you make of the celebration, the guitar after he kicked the goal? Did you see it?
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, look.
Reckons he's going to keep doing it as well.
When you win, you can do what you want. Look, all of a sudden you lose 2 in a row, you're not doing it anymore. So keep him happy, and that's a style. When you win, do it. When you're under the pump, focus on the game.
Did you watch Brian Taylor's BT roaming in the rooms after the game as well?
I missed that, but what
just interviewed Dersma's girlfriend who let slip that she was still in school, and BT didn't really know what to say, which was made for good TV.
I did read about that, and I would have stumbled over that one. Let me tell you,
certainly made for good TV at least. But Port, where do you see them at the moment? They're playing some terrific footy. Are they a top 4 chance?
Look, there's no questions of top 4. I mean, look, if they lost to Richmond, they should never have lost to Richmond, and another game they shouldn't have lost to Brisbane, I reckon it was. So they probably should be 6-0 at the moment. So they're sitting nicely 4-2. They're playing some great footy. And they're certainly a top 4 in my book. It's certainly a top 4. And I've always thought the Crows, once they got their disposal right, when you look at Brad Crouch and even Matt at times Sloan, going to their forward line was sometimes a little bit inaccurate.
Yep.
And that's obviously some pressure from the opposition as well. But once that got going over the last fortnight, the Crows have looked like a top 2 team.
Yeah.
They really have. So it's going to be interesting this week. Now they play Freo, who are second on the table.
Yeah, the one that's going to hurt the Crows is dropping the game to North Melbourne that they should never have dropped.
No question. Yeah, when you're 4 or 5 up. But funny enough, Port were 4 or 5 up as well, and all of a sudden they're hanging on the dear life with 5 minutes to go as well. So something about North Melbourne there, when their back's against the wall, they've seen a lot of
Shimbo spirit they're trying to say, which is not much of at the moment. But did that concern you, seeing North come back at Port, or was that a bit of Port just calling the Jets a little bit?
It was really funny because I actually thought, geez, I wish the siren would go now. So no, there's no injuries, and I looked at the clock, it was about 19-minute mark, and it was funny once
40+ bets.
Once I thought that, all of a sudden the whole thing turned around, and I thought, well, what did I think that for? Because all of a sudden North got their momentum.
Yeah.
So I think it was they really threw everything at North.
Yeah.
And I think they might have been playing to the siren. That's my own feel.
Yeah.
And again, it breeds once one or two players start just thinking, well, we only got 10 minutes to go. We've got plenty of on the board.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, it happens quite often. As we know.
We're talking about the kids, and there's probably not bigger four kids in the competition at one club than your Rosie, Dersma, Butters, and Drew. I don't think there's a better combination of kids at a club playing AFL footy and contributing the way they play.
I think there's no question. It's just so exciting. It probably reminds me a little bit Hawthorn, those early sort of 2000s, quite a few Brisbane, when they won their 3 out of their 4, whatever it might have been. And the Swans, they put in a whole lot of youngsters.
Yeah.
The youngsters, they shone.
They're excited,
and they showed their tricks. And I just think it. You must, for Brad Ebert to be, his work rate, he's always under the pack. But to see these young players, it must be just like a breath of fresh air for him to say, "Well, I really enjoyed watching that, guys." Westhoff the same. So I think they're probably the 4 of the best going around at the moment.
Do you think the clubs, depending on where the kids can go, what club can actually has a big impact on how they become as a player as well? You look at these kids that go into a side with really good players around them and they're shining, but then you look at a Sam Walsh at Carlton who aren't going as well, but he's dominating. But you look at some of the other high draft picks around that are actually struggling at some of those middle of the road clubs. Can it depend on the club that you go to?
There's no question there. I mean, Port was really disappointing last year, and you've got to remember that 6 weeks out they're in the top 4.
Yeah.
And they just fell off the cliff. It was just amazing. Yeah. But 6 weeks out, that side was second. They were fighting for whether they're going to finish second or third.
They weren't a horrible side last year.
Fantastic. No, well, like I said, they were in the top 4. With 5 games to go. So they go into a side that they knew they had a great base.
Yeah.
And they knew they were a lot better than they were the last 2 months of football last year. So those young kids were coming to a side that had the experience.
Yep.
They're a good side. They just needed just a little bit of polish.
Yeah.
And it just worked for them. So you're right. It is a bit about timing, and you look at some really young players going to Carlton. They're building, but they should have beaten Hawthorn last week. It could have been 2 in a row.
They should have.
And I'm sort of thinking, well, they're probably only a year away from probably where Port probably are at the moment.
Yeah. And Ryan Burton, obviously involved in the Wingard trade coming over. Do you tick that off at the moment? How do you see his form?
I tick it off. I think Wingard, the last part of last year, he looked like he needed to be rejuvenated.
Yeah.
He probably is now at Hawthorn. Kicked a couple of goals on the weekend, great. And for Ryan Burton to come into the Port side, it's given him a bit of a leadership sort of opportunity as well. Even though he's very young, but he's pretty cool head.
Yeah,
he's a very cool head. Yeah. And look, we go across to West Lakes and it's just as many good things happening there as well.
Yeah.
That when you look at, I'm really impressed by that Himmelberg.
Blake Keith is down back.
Adelaide smashed Centrals last weekend, so they got lots of really good players trying to knock on the door, and hard to make a change.
Yeah, do you think both go in unchanged this week? No injuries from memory?
Well, we have got Robbie Gray's out for 4 weeks.
Gray's out.
Yep.
So does that bring Jack Trengove in? You think he has been dominating?
Look, he's just dominating the SNFL. I scratched my head a little bit why he's not into the lineup, but it's a hard call. I reckon there's 3. I reckon there's 3 players, and he's one of 3.
Yeah.
So.
And we'll go over to the Crows. Let's talk a bit more about them. Rory Sloane probably last year struggled with lack of pre-season injuries. The foot was obviously a big one. How good has he been this year? For the Crows already.
Well, he's just a workhorse. He's a heart and soul.
My favourite player in the AFL.
Oh, look, he's absolutely brilliant. And you could see that he was hurting when they were losing, as they were, and he he never throws a towel in it, and I just think that he's been rewarded the last couple of weeks, and I think right now he's saying we're at a good spot. We're going in the right direction, and there's probably not too many sides I think at the moment are sort of much too far in front of the Crows. Or Port. So we're looking pretty good.
Ando, another great show tonight from the Elmer, mate. Now be sure, don't forget, you can find all this on our Facebook. I know you're all over it with the Facebook as well. So we've got it on our Facebook, on YouTube. Search the SA Footballer TV. We've got over 150,000 supporters, and it's growing each and every week. It's fantastic.
I do want to say one thing. It's just well done to the Thunderbirds. I know it's football. We're going to netball. Well done the Thunderbirds last week. It's their first win for 798 days. And they're a premier side for South Australia. So well done and good luck. I think they're playing in Sydney this week. So it's a good story. They start the year off with a win. So that's fantastic.
Beautiful. Jump onto the Facebook before the bounce. Check out all the news and all the footy gossip.
We'll be back next week.
Back for another week.
Next week.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Enjoy it. Thanks.